Okay, this is page 2 for 8.2 AB guided practice. We're going to go through number 5, 6, 7, and 8 on this page. Number 5, which of the following is equivalent to 6g to the 7th plus 42g to the 6th divided by 6g squared when g is not equal to 0? All right, a really easy way to do this is just to plug it into Desmos. All right, remember that I have a fraction here, so I'm going to type the divide sign, and it'll give me a fraction bar before I even get started. All right, a lot of people make mistakes here with forgetting to put parentheses around the numerator here. And so then when they go to press divide, it's only divided on the second part. But if we press the fraction bar or the divide button before we even get started, then it's going to be a lot easier for us. So I press that fraction bar, then I'm going to type in exactly what we have, 6g to the 7th plus 42g to the 6th divided by 6g squared. All right, it's going to ask me to add a slider for g, and I'm going to add that slider. G cannot equal -1, 0, or 1. All right, that's very important. G cannot equal -1, 0, or 1. So I'm not going to let this G here be -1, 0, or 1. I'm going to change it to whatever else I want, as long as it's just not 1. Okay? And notice that I get 1221.50 if I round. Okay, so we got 1221.50, and now I'm going to type in each of these answer choices and see which one gives me 1221.50. That'll be my answer. Okay, so I'm going to start with letter A, 8g to the 9th. 8g to the 9th, that's 371,000. That's definitely not the same, so it should not be A. All right, let's try B. G to the 5th plus 7g to the 4th. That is 1221.49. That's what we got. All right, so we believe that this is the answer. But let's just go ahead and double check all of them. All right, letter C, g to the 5th plus 42g to the 6th. That's 54,000. That's not the same as 1221. And if we check D, 8g to the 11th, we get a huge number. That's not even close to 1221. So we know that the correct answer is D. All right, we know it's D because we matched the problem with the sliders. We got 1221, and we matched that with letter B. There we got 1221. Okay, so yeah, the correct answer is B. Now this will work when it says equivalent. That's a big word that you need to remember, is equivalent. All right, just type this in, add the slider, and see which answer choice matches. Okay. Number 6. Click on a box to choose the answer you want to select. You must select all correct answers. We need to identify each true statement. All right. So here's how we identify each true statement. Kind of similar to number 5. We're going to plug these into Desmos and see if they match. One thing that we need to know is that we cannot use X and Y. All right. No X or Y when evaluating. Okay, you cannot use X or Y when we're evaluating. X and Y are variables in Desmos, and so we cannot evaluate. It'll just give us a picture of the graph. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hit that fraction bar again. We have 10. I'm going to change X and Y to A and B. That seems like the simplest thing to do. So 10a to the 3rd, b to the 9th, divided by 2a squared, b to the 3rd. All right, when I add a slider, a can't be 1, b can't be 1. Okay, it doesn't matter what they are. We get 3, 5, 5, 2. And I'm just going to type in what it's supposed to equal here, 8xy to the 6th. So 8a, b to the 6th. And we get 5, 6, 8, 4. All right, that is not the same. It's not equivalent. This is not the answer. All right, I'm going to try the next one. Then I'm going to ask you to pause and try C and D. Let's try B very quickly. Fraction bar. In the numerator, we have 16. Nope, can't use X. 16a to the 6th, b to the 9th, divided by 8a to the 2nd, b to the 3rd. I'm going to add a slider, change it to whatever. We get this big number here, 3,276,800. I'm going to type in what it's supposed to equal, see if it's the same thing. All right, we have 2a to the third, b to the third. We get 8,192. So that's not the same answer. Okay. And now why don't you pause the video, try C and D with your group, and see if you can get the correct answers. Okay, so I hope you tried C and D with your group and see which one of these is the correct answer, or if they're both the correct answer. It did say select all the correct answers, so maybe just one, maybe just two. Remember that we are supposed to be checking on Desmos, so you can plug this in and write down what you had here for your answer. That way you can double check it and get full credit for today's guided practice. Down to number 7. 7 is done exactly the same way as 5 and 6. So once again, I'm going to ask you to pause your video and type this in to Desmos, see if you can get the correct answer. Remember that we cannot use X or Y, so I'm just going to probably change X to A and change Z to B or C or anything like that. So just type this in with your group, see if you get the correct answer for number 7. Okay, and last one, number 8. What is the value of the exponent when the expression below is simplified? Okay, so this one is just a type your answer in the box kind of question. So there's really no Desmos help that we can use for this question. It's just kind of whether you know the math or not. So I'm going to quickly go through the math here with you just to refresh your mind. And then we'll move on to the next page. All right. What is the value of the exponent when the expression below is simplified? So we need to take this expression and we need to simplify. And then it's going to be a box here that says x equals blank. And we're going to need to type our answer in that box. All right. So we need to remember our exponent rules for this one. Remember, we have a power to a power. And when we have a power to a power, we're supposed to multiply those powers together. All right. So in the numerator here, we're going to have x. And when we multiply -3 times -5, we're going to get positive 15. Okay. In the denominator, same thing. We have power to power. So when we multiply 4 times -2, we're going to get x to the -8. All right. So that's the first rule we need to remember is power to power. Then we also need to remember that we cannot have this negative exponent here. All right. So if you remember, the way that we get negative exponents to go away is that we flip it. We put it in if it's in the denominator, we move it to the numerator. And if it's in the numerator, we move it to the denominator. So I'm just going to have x to the 15th, all right, on top in the numerator, and I'm going to move x to the 8th up top. And remember, when we move it between numerator and denominator, it makes it positive, all right? So that gets rid of that negative exponent for us. So that's the next step. And then the last step, if you remember, needs to be putting these together. So remember, when we're multiplying and have the same base, that exponent rule is that we add the exponents. All right, so we're going to get x to the 15 plus 8, which is x to the 23rd. All right, and so what we would need to type in the box on the SOL is we need to type in 23. That'll be our answer. Okay, so on questions like 5 and 6 and 7, we can just use Desmos as a great tool and type it in and match up the decimal. But for something like number 8, where we can't do that, we need to remember exponent rules. So the ones that we used in this problem, for the blue part, we used the power to power rule, which is multiply the exponents. And the red part, we used the negative exponent rule. When there's a negative, you switch it between the numerator and denominator, make it positive. And then the green part we used when we have the same base and we're multiplying, we just add the exponents. Okay.